Hey, it's Mark here, and welcome to the next edition of the Employee Survival Guide, where I tell you, as always, what your employer does definitely not want you to know about, and a lot more.
It's Mark, and welcome back. The quiet fear we all carry, and why this podcast is becoming something bigger than I ever expected. I'm not here with another case breakdown today. I'm here because I need to talk to you, really talk to you, about something that's happening with this podcast. Something I didn't plan, something I'm only beginning to understand myself, even as I watch it unfold episode after episode. I've been an employment lawyer for nearly 30 years. I've sat with people whose lives were quietly dismantled by a single performance review, by retaliation after they asked for time off to care for a dying parent, by a boss who decided that fear and money were the only two levers that should ever control a workplace. I've worked with employees battling ALS, MS, early stage Alzheimer's at age 45, to just name a few, only to be fired by their employers. I've sat with a female CEO being forced out by her all-male board. The employee stories I've been exposed to are many, and my memory is very long. I've thought I've seen every version of these stories, and I have, but what's happening right now with you listening, with every new episode that drops, I'm witnessing something I never saw coming. And I have to be completely transparent with you about it. There is a quiet fear that lives inside almost every single one of us who works for a living. It's not the dramatic panic of getting fired tomorrow. It's quieter than that. It's the low, constant hum that follows you home at night, the whisper in the back of your mind when you're lying in bed. What if they decide I'm next? What if I speak up and lose everything I've built? What if this place that takes me 40, 60 hours a week of my life suddenly turns on me and there's nothing I can do about it? Most of us carry that fear alone. We smile at the meetings. We hit the deadlines. We tell ourselves we're just fine. We pretend the system is fair. Some of us self-medicate with food and drink, etc., to escape the pain caused by our employers. But when you press play on one of these episodes, something inside you shifts. You don't just hear a story about someone else's nightmare. You feel seen. For the first time, the quiet fear has company. You hear the raw details of what actually happened to another employee. The promotion that vanished the moment they got sick. The retaliation that came after they complained about harassment. The surveillance that treated them like property instead of a human being. And suddenly, your own fear stops feeling abstract. It becomes real. It becomes shared. And here's what I'm watching happen inside you as you listen. And I mean this with every ounce of my honesty. Something is taking place within you. I'm paying witness to it in the podcast data. I'm not kidding. You feel compelled to keep listening, not because you're curious about the law. Sometimes employment law can feel like boring, frankly, but because for the first time you are seeing a path through the fear, your fear. You are hearing other people's stories, and those stories are handing you the exact tools you need to breathe again. You are learning bit by bit how to name the tactics employers use, the invisible barriers they intentionally build to keep us anxious, compliant, and silent. Every episode is doing this work organically, one download at a time, one listener at a time. It's not some grand plan I mapped out. It's literally evolving naturally, even right now. People are listening to this podcast right now, other episodes, and they're listening to the way a real movement happens, quietly, powerfully, person by person. But here's the truth we all feel but rarely say out loud. The way most workplaces operate right now is insane. Employers have convinced themselves and try to convince us that the only way to run a business is to rule through fear and money. Keep people scared enough to stay in line, pay them just enough to stop them from leaving, build policies and processes that make speaking up feel dangerous, make loyalty a one-way street. That is the insanity we have all been living under. And every time you listen, you are beginning to dismantle it inside yourself. You are learning how to document what matters, how to push back without destroying your own life, how to recognize the red flags before they become your story, how to negotiate from a place of strength instead of desperation. You are breaking down the powerful corporate barriers that were built on the arrogant belief that fear and money will always be enough. And you are doing it not alone anymore. It's the first time, as far as I can tell based on my own research, that an audience like you has had a place where the quiet fear about working finally meets real stories from people who lived it, courageous people, and real solutions from someone, myself, who has fought those battles in courts for decades. I didn't set out to create this. I set out just to give you basic information about jobs and employment and working. But what is happening now is deeper. It's organic. It's growing one episode at a time. I can see it, again, in the data I'm looking at. I'm amazed. And I'm right here in the middle of it with you, watching it unfold, feeling the weight of my responsibility and the hope of it at the same time for you, for all of us. So if you're listening right now and that quiet fear is sitting heavy in your chest, I see you. I feel it too. If you ever thought your own story was too small or too messy to matter, it isn't. Your story is the next piece of this resistance. Submit it. Share it anonymously with me. You can go to our website, CapClaw, and contact us and drop it in there. Let it become part of what we are building together. Because every time one of us speaks up, every time one of us listens, every time one of us learns how to push back, the insanity loses a little more power, and there is nothing your employer can do to stop it. It's a beautiful thing. We are done carrying this fear in silence. We are done accepting workplace culture that runs on fear and money as if that's the only way work can ever be done. We are done pretending we are powerless. This podcast is becoming the place where we stop accepting the insanity and start learning how to fight it together. One story at a time, one listener at a time, one download at a time. And I'm all in. Are you? If you're ready to be part of this, let me know. Tell me what happened to you. Drop me a line on the website, because your story might be the one that helps the next person stop living in fear. As always, thank you for letting me be of service to you all.
If you like the Employee Survival Guide, I'd really encourage you to leave a review. We try really hard to produce information to you that's informative, that's timely, that you can actually use and solve problems on your own and at your employment. So if you like to leave a review anywhere you listen to our podcast, please do so. And leave 5 stars, because anything less than 5 is really not as good, right? I'll keep it up. I'll keep the standards up. I'll keep the information flowing at you. If you'd like to send me an email and ask me a question, I'll actually review it and post it on there. You can send it to Carey at capclaw.com. That's capclaw.com.